Hi Molls, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Happy Thursday. Welcome to OneMinding, everybody. Sorry, it's a slightly later time. We had a few delays, but here we are.
Yeah, we was and there's a lot of spaces on now as well. I just checked in before we went live. I was like, whoa, I don't think I've ever seen so many spaces. So some will probably catch up on the recording. But Steve, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve. You're our one and only listener, but it doesn't matter because everything goes up on the podcast now. So we've got the
Yeah.
website, which is
Oh,
unminding.co.uk, theunmindingproject.com. And
yes.
we have Spotify. We've also got Fountain. We're going to do a talk about Fountain shortly. They're basically a podcasting to so you can basically listen. It's great for Bitcoiners, and we've just really started to get into using them. So we're going to do a chat with them soon, teach you all how to do it. And but today's about money, and money, that little piece of paper that we believe means so much. We started the project because we have both had different sort of scenarios and situations in our lives that have brought us to a place of wanting to find well-being and happiness. And I've been on this journey with Molls for about 3 years, and it's really, really sort of helped my life and turned things around for me. And I just live life in a different way, and it's all thanks to this. And we started this project because we wanted to share it. And there's been lots going on with the markets, and not just crypto, with every market at the moment. It looks like we might be heading into another recession, and we thought, well, what better subject to do other than money? So actually reminded me of a story that I heard when I was younger, and it's about a man that sold all of his belongings. So this old man went and sold all of his belongings because he wanted to buy this big rock of gold, and he protected this gold so much. He buried it in his garden, and every day he'd go over and he'd uncover the gold and he'd have a look at it, and then he'd bury it back over. Eventually his neighbour had sort of seen what he's doing and snuck over one night, realised that it was gold, dug it up and took it away. Now the next day the man had realised, and he was so upset, he'd lost his gold. And the other neighbour said, "Why are you sad?" He said, "Just put a rock in there, cover it up, and it won't make any difference. You never did anything with the gold anyway." And I hadn't thought about that story for a long time. And when we decided to do this subject, I thought, oh, bloody hell. And it's funny how you remember things, but it's so interesting that we give things value that we don't even use, and we wouldn't even know if they weren't there. So I think tonight's going to be a really great topic, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you, Molls, and thanks to everyone. Oh, we've got a load of people in now. So yeah, thank you. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's a great story, Gem. I like that. It's so true as well. It's people hoard things that they don't ever use and won't ever need, and they put their security on them and their well-being on them, and it's actually just an idea, but we'll get more into that as we go along this evening. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jem, for being here. Money is such a huge topic, but just to start us off, I just want you to slow down for a little bit. I want you to really feel more relaxed, even though we're talking about a very practical subject tonight. It'd be really nice if you can just slow down your thinking, and that should happen over the hour that we're together. It's what we'll be looking towards is the fact that thought isn't actually telling you the truth. This is kind of the fundamental of what we teach. We teach about what thought is, how thought works, and really the depth of who we are as a human. And what that means is that often the mind gets to check out for a little while. We spend so much time up in our heads. We spend so much time lost in our thinking and believing that it's true. And so for this time that we're together, just challenge that thinking. Just start to look at your thinking in a different way, that maybe what you think isn't true. So leave everything that you believe at the door and just be open to hearing something a little bit different. I think that's so important, that we can actually see things from a different perspective, if we can see things in a fresh way, because often things can really seem fixed, really seem true, but it's in our challenging of our own thinking, it's in our challenging of our beliefs that we get to see things differently. So when we're talking about money, money appears incredibly real, and of course to the human self, we need money, we need to eat, we need to have shelter, there's basic things that come around money, but money's still an idea, it's still made of thought. There was a time on the planet when there wasn't money, everything was exchange in barter, and over time it's developed, and we've got this monetary system now which is on the point of collapse, and we're in a time of incredible economic uncertainty. And then we have all our sort of crypto world where we see money differently. And if you think about all those different beliefs, all those different views about money, all those different things that we often think about money, and really, are they true? That's what we're here today to look at. And if you think about just some of the beliefs around money, and you may have some of these, I've got a list here. Money is the root of all evil. There's something dirty or bad about money and the people that have it. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. There's never enough. You must control money or it will control you. More money is always better. Money doesn't grow on trees. Some people have the money-making skills and others don't. You can't play the money game well and be spiritual. Net worth is the true measure of wealth and success. You must save for a rainy day. I mean, that's just a very small glimpse into what we can have beliefs around money. You've probably got one of two of those. I know that I have had, and there are many, many more. Money's one of the areas where we can get really caught up in the personal, where our ego can really grab onto, and it can really make it appear real. We can really pin the feelings that we have onto money. We can pin our security onto money. And what this conversation is about is just undoing that, just bringing that back to, of course, money is helpful. But as Jem's story said about the guy with the gold buried in his garden that he never used, it gave a false sense of security. His mind had made up that the gold would keep him secure, but he never ever had to touch the gold. It was an idea. So what we're looking at here is what are our ideas around money? What does money mean to you? Is there an arbitrary number of dollars, of pounds, of Bitcoin where you believe that you will get that and suddenly you'll be okay, suddenly you will want no more? Because what I can tell you is that probably isn't true. Because the numbers that we make up, they're coming from the ego, they're coming from the intellect, they're not coming from the truth of who we are. So what happens with this number we make up, we may get to that number, but I guarantee you this mind, this ego will come in and go, oh, but what if we could have more now? The nature of the ego is more. The nature of the separate self is more. So this money, 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 and how caught up we get in it, how the illusion really gets sticky around money. It's such an interesting area. And actually what this conversation does, it can free us from many of our beliefs around money. We can begin to challenge them, because even the ones that look like they're helpful aren't. And many of the beliefs we have around money are actually incredibly unhelpful, and they hold us back. So we can begin to strip away all these ideas of security, well-being, power, freedom. Look how self-worth is tied into money. You know, it's you can see the ego sometimes of people with a lot of it, that you know, they really think that it in some way it makes them who they are. That there's a confidence that comes from the money, but it's actually false, because the confidence can't be true, because if the money went, then the confidence wouldn't be there. So what we're looking at here is seeing who we are from a deeper space. So we're not reliant. Our self-worth isn't reliant on money or Bitcoin or even our lovely cult. It's like that doesn't contain our self-worth. They're tools. They're things that we can use in the world. And actually, the more we drop our beliefs around it, the easier it comes to see this idea of actually it's just an energy, and it's an abundant energy. And sometimes we have more of it, sometimes we have less of it. Some people have more of it, some people have less of it. But in no way does it tie into your feelings. In no way does it tie into your self-worth. In no way does it give you hope. It's like you're still, even that you're making up. We're all making up our ideas around money all the time. And another really interesting thing is you can see in other ways how it can make people greedy. You know, what's greed? This greed around money, it's fear. What's fear? It's coming from the fact that we can feel insecure, and we feel that we haven't got enough. So we need to get more to feel insecure, to feel secure. But you're never going to feel secure, because you're projecting again out that what you need outside of yourself to feel this security, this well-being, and it doesn't exist out there. So it's like the carrot and the stick. You're never going to get there. If you project your well-being and your self-worth and your happiness onto money, I guarantee you may occasionally get the illusion of it filling you up, but it's never really. There's always going to be more. You know, if you think about the idea of having more, and that makes you feel fulfilled, then what's actually happening there? You know, we're looking at thought here. You know, your thinking is creating a story. Your thinking is creating the idea, the feeling of more, even when you haven't got it. And you're reacting to that thought, and you're having that thought feeling. And in that thought feeling, you're experiencing what it's like to have more, and you haven't even got it yet. You know, we can daydream and have those experiences. So what's really going on there? Thought has changed. If you think about something like the story of Scrooge, you know, this man was incredibly greedy. He held on to everything. He never shared. He didn't give anything away. He was mean. And then there was this change in him. And suddenly he was generous and kind. What happened there? Thought changed. This is what I'm talking about. We have the power to change our ideas. And it's kind of paradoxical, because I'm actually saying here that, you know, we don't need more to be okay. But what happens when you challenge your thinking around money, when you challenge your beliefs really around anything, and they begin to dissolve, its availability to you becomes greater, because you're more in tune with the energy. You're more open. You're not closing yourself down by the beliefs that you have. You've opened yourself up, and you're seeing clearly, and whatever you need will find you. I mean, I've had the experiences in life. I've never been incredibly rich, but I've had businesses and I've had money. And then I had the experience of having a breakdown and losing my businesses and having literally no money. I mean, nothing. But my needs were always met. I always had I had a roof over my head. I had food. There was everything that I needed was there. But because I wasn't in a great mental state at that time, I had a lot of thinking around money. I did. I you know, this was before I found the principles, and I had this understanding. And if I'd have just dropped out of thought, I would have seen I had everything that I needed in the moment for my well-being. But I did actually spend a lot of my time not only in the mental turmoil of anxiety and depression and everything that came with the breakdown, but there was a lot of thinking about around money and security and well-being and paying for things. But ultimately, everything always got paid. That was what was really interesting, and it wasn't because I over worried. It wasn't because I thought too much about it. It was just because that's generally the nature of things. We find a way. Humans are so resilient. But my worry made no difference. And in fact, the more I've come out, the more I see things differently, the more my beliefs have been challenged around money. You know, the easier it is to seem to access it when I need it. You know, if I need something, it does always seem to be there. Because, you know, again, there isn't, this is really interesting. It's like we another belief we have around money is like it's limited. There's only so much. You know, there's only so much money out there, and you know, you're only going to get this money. You work hard, you get money. We shut off so many ways of money finding us because we have these rigid beliefs around it. You know, if anything, we've seen with the money printer go that actually it can be printed and printed and printed. Now, obviously, this is going to go into a state of collapse, but our ideas around money are actually not set. It's not a fixed thing. Actually, the universe is abundant. Look at nature. There's an abundance. We see lack. The truth is abundance. Where does the lack come from? The lack comes from our personal mind. You know, and it's like, really, how much is ever enough? From the ego, it's never enough. From the true self, if I sat with you all in a room, even, you know, sitting like this, and I could wave a wand and I could drop you out of your minds and all your ideas around money and what you need. You would, I guarantee, all of you would sit and see that you had everything you need in this moment. That you know, if you saw it from the purity of presence and the truth, there would be nothing that you would need to add. You would be completely content with everything you had right now, and that contentment would come from who you are. That's the truth. That's the truth of who we are. You know, you think of a number. Think of a number of dollars or bitcoins that you in your head have made up that is the ultimate. That's where you need to get. That's what you need to have. And, you know, I've done it myself, but I know it's not true. And I can play with that. We can all play with that. But if we take the seriousness out of it, if we take our identity out of it, if we take our well-being out of it, then it just becomes play. You know, actually, money should, you know, earning money, playing with money, that's what it should be. It should be playful. If we saw it as it truly was, it would be playful. The seriousness would come out of it. The playfulness would come in. We would see that if our well-being isn't on it, then we can go and play and do the things that we want to do to generate this abundance. And sometimes we will, and sometimes we won't, and that would all be okay. You know, we wouldn't see really much difference between success and failure. We'd see that actually that was one thing. It's like, that's the game of life. You know, if you go and see your favourite sports team, if you went and you knew they were going to win every time, you would not bother going. You know, that's the game. You want to go. You want to go through the emotions of the winning and the losing and the near misses and the hits, and it's exciting. That's what makes it exciting. But we forget that the same thing applies to life, to money. Like, what if we played the game of money in that way? If we saw it as it was, which I believe that's how it is. That if we played it knowing sometimes we were going to win and knowing sometimes we were going to lose. We don't want to come and play a game and know that we're going to win every time. It would really, really lose the fun. It would lose the joy. It would lose the excitement. You know, this is what I'm talking about. It's this, like, the mind wants to fix in place security, but it would lose so much if it did. The unknown, the excitement. Where could this go? What could this be? Oh, I fucked it up. It's not worked. Oh, well, on to the next thing. It's that, smile when you're losing. That's huge. And I think to talk about something like money is so important in these uncertain times that we live in, because we can all suddenly settle down and see that it's just something to play with. It will come, it will go. Some of you have got more than others. It's okay. It's okay. It's a game. It's our imagination. Yeah. It's what we make up, but we forget that we've made it up, and then we apply our rules to it and make it serious and don't enjoy it. And it's like, no, you've made all of that up. Like, enjoy it. The fundamental truth of this is, are we living in an inside out or an outside in world? This is what these principles that I teach point to. Are we seeing that everything's coming from us? I'm making it all up. I'm either being playful or I'm being serious, in what I'm making up, or am I seeing that it's right, or am I seeing it in the wrong way, in the way that isn't truth, which is the world is coming at me and I'm a victim of it, and it's all being created by the world. I know which one I tend to live by. I still get caught in the outside in, but I know the truth of the inside out. I know it's all coming from me. Okay? It's my thoughts and feelings are experienced from me. They're within me. It's not an outside in world. It's an inside out one. That's so important. And in this illusion of the outside in, money's just another shadow on the wall of Plato's cave. It's just another part of the game we play. We're all playing this game. But you can see in yourself when you get too serious about money, when you get too caught up about money. Now I can do this too. It contracts us. It makes the game far less enjoyable. It becomes something that we start to play the game, but it looks really real, and it looks like the outcome is really important, and it looks like our happiness and our well-being is in it. It is dependent on it. If that doesn't work out, what am I going to do? Well, you do the next thing, and then after that, the next thing, and then after that, the next thing. I mean, we've all done that. We've all gone through life, and we've done different things, and we've experienced different things, and we've applied seriousness to things, and then probably forgotten about them. We've applied so much seriousness to something, and then maybe it hasn't worked out, and then a year later, do you even remember that thing? It's gone. It's our mind creating a movie. It's our mind creating a story. That what we're pointing to here, this energy behind life, is abundance. It is limitlessness. It's infinite creative potential. It's infinite intelligence. That's where we want to go. That's what we want to touch. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to feel. That's where everything comes from. Yeah, when we touch that space, we know. We feel it. We feel content. We feel complete. We feel at peace. We feel happy. That's what we're all looking for. But we're so misguided that we've projected it outside of ourselves onto something as arbitrary as money. There's enough. The limits that you experience come from you. Strip away your beliefs, strip away your ideas, come back to truth, and everything you're looking for is there. And from that space, from the inner work, the connection to the outer world becomes much more enriching. All the things that you thought you wanted, maybe you don't want anymore, but they seem to find you. It's back to the paradox, because it's coming from you. So the clearer you are, the more aware you are of who you are and who you are not, the more deeply you've touched the space within you, and seen there's something so much deeper to life and to experience, the richer the world becomes. That's the paradox as well. We're all out there trying to grab it from the world when it's already who we are. It's like a cosmic joke. Look at nature. It's infinite. It expands. Look how interdependent nature is. Look how everything blooms at the right time. Look how food is available to the creatures that need it. The food chain in nature. I mean, it's mind blowing when you actually look at it. How perfect it is. How there is such abundance. So where does lack come from? It comes from our ego. It comes from who we think we are, not who we really are. Yeah, it's so interesting as well. Like when we do get caught, we create these beliefs around money, then we judge them, and then we add the circumstances. It's not the other way around. Like we're creating it. It's like we create circumstances that compound our beliefs. It's all us. So, oh yeah, that must be true. Like if you live in a world where you believe money is lack, you're not going to have money. If you live in a world where you believe money is abundant, you're going to always have everything that you need. It's all us. This is the key. This is what I'm talking about. It's invisible to us that beliefs are creating our experience, but that's what it is. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And I can't remember who quoted that, but it wasn't me. But yeah, what a great quote. What an amazing quote. Like we see the world as we are. Like just think about that. And then see how true that is. See how limited and contracted we are when we go into our unhelpful beliefs. It's fascinating to me. Money is fascinating. It's like there isn't an end point to the game of money. There's just a game to be played. So when you see it in that way, it's you can set your personal milestones, but there's no feeling attached to it. We see it's the money game. It's almost as if it's one that we can't win, really, because it's a game we're going to play for the rest of our lives. So just enjoy it. Is there a clear, think about it. Is there a clear definition of winning the money game? There isn't. It's fascinating. There isn't. It's like you may have made something up, but that's you making it up. How would you know if you've won? Why would that be so important? Why don't we just enjoy where we're at and then play and see what turns up? If you play and you become a billionaire, great. If you play and you don't, great. But enjoy life. Get what you can out of life. Think of another great point is obviously I work with people privately, and sometimes I work with very wealthy people. And do you know what's fascinating? They have more thinking around money than the people that don't have much. A lot of them will be consumed with their ideas of holding on to money, of someone taking their money, of people wanting to be with them for their money, people liking them for their money. And it's like, wow. Like when you strip that away from them and they can just enjoy being and then go play with the money they've got, great. But it's so interesting how much thinking these people have and how much people without money look at people with money and think, wow, they're okay. They're okay. They've got the money. And it's like, no, they're still thinking about it, just in a different way. It's still consuming them. The fear of losing it can be so huge. It's like, it's all thought. When I was younger, I lived in a commune, and in in India, and with this guru, and he said, oh, I love the rich people come in, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, so they give you money, and he's like, actually, it's because they know it's not in money. When the rich people come, they've already got the money. They thought happiness was in the money. They've seen that it's not. They're ready. He said sometimes when you work with poor people, they're still thinking that the money's going to solve their problems. And isn't that fascinating? Isn't that so interesting? It's if we can see that for ourselves, no matter how much money we've got, if we can see that fundamental truth about money for ourselves, then we're free. Then we're free. It's so I had an interesting insight into. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat tonight. Insight into money recently. Actually, it wasn't into money. It was into abundance and the energy around money, and into when we receive, when we give, if we take. And it may sound really simple, and some of you may be like, well, yeah, of course, I've known that forever. But to me, I kind of saw something a bit more, a little bit more deeply in it, which was, and I've tweeted about it, so some of you may have seen it, but it's always receive, never take. And it really hit me. It was like, oh, like every war that's created is someone trying to take something that doesn't belong to them. The taking energy is it's not a great energy. You don't want to be in that energy. You don't want to be a taker. Receiving is completely different. When we receive, we're given. When we receive, it's giving the gift of someone to be able to give to us. Yeah, because when you come to this truth, when you begin to see the truth of who we are, the truth of the human experience, the truth of the energies behind life, you see that giving and receiving are exactly the same energy. Some people can have problems around giving, some people can have problems around receiving, but I think when you wake up to what it really is, it's one. It doesn't matter. So to give and to receive are one. They're exactly the same thing. So to be open to that, to be able to see that, to be able to give freely, to be able to receive freely. You find some people really happy to give, but receiving makes them feel uncomfortable. And it's like, no, you're missing it. It's amazing. It's like the whole thing is the truth. It's like there isn't the duality of giving and receiving is a lie. The wholeality of it, the non-dual aspect of it is it's one thing. So as we see that, it becomes okay. I'm open. I'm open to the truth of nature, the truth of the abundance of the universe. Sometimes it comes to me, sometimes it comes from me, but it's kind of like this infinity loop of oneness. And that's a really powerful thing to see. But taking, no. Taking is when you're trying to get something from someone that they don't want to give to you. Or thinking that you should have it, even if they don't want to give it. Cut that shit dead. That's not going to do you any good. That's gonna shut the cycle down. That's going to create a block. See beyond that. See that, and observe. I've observed it in myself. I found an area where that could feel a little bit like taking energy, and I just completely cut that off. Saw that in myself, and I was like, I wasn't aware of it. It was an unconscious thing, but it came up into my consciousness, and it's gone. It wouldn't even make sense for me to do that anymore. This is what I'm talking about here. The insights that we have around anything, but especially around money, when we see this truth that I'm talking about, there's old behaviours that won't make sense. There's old ways of thinking that won't make sense. There will be beliefs that won't make sense. You won't be able to have them anymore. They will fall away. Again, so many things around money. I'm like those beliefs that I said at the beginning. How many of them? How many? How many of you have a belief that it's hard to get money, or you have to work really hard to get money? Well, there's lots of people that haven't worked hard to get money. Now, I'm not against hard work. I think it's fine, but again, it's still a belief. We don't want to turn anything into a set belief. We want to hold it up to the light. We can have things like, oh, if you'll be low. People with loads of money are lonely, or like, where's that come from? How can that be true? You know, it can, again, I get how it can be really confusing because we do have so much thinking around money. But ultimately, if you strip all that back, if you begin to see, you can break free from it. You can break free from your own thinking. You can break free from your beliefs. You'll see it in other people also. You'll have moments where you'll see other people's beliefs around money, and you'll go, "Oh wow, that looks really true to them." You know, it's this being human. It's a game. It's a game, and we have to see it. We have to see it like that to really enjoy it, to really begin to get the most out of it. I teach something called the 3 principles. Most of you will know. For those that don't, it's fascinating, life changing, transformational, and you can DM me and Gem, and we'll point you in the direction of some other talks that we've done around it, because I don't really want to go too deeply into what the principles are tonight. But you know, Sid Banks was the founder of these principles. He had an enlightenment experience in the 70s, and he saw something really deep about thought and about the human experience, and he shared it with psychologists and psychiatrists and spiritual teachers, and we've all carried the torch and carried on sharing it with the world. And he used to say the biggest disease to befall mankind is seriousness. Like, where are we being too serious? Where are we applying that seriousness where it doesn't need to be? You know, and around money is an area where we can, money and relationships, 2 areas that we can really get caught up on, and we forget that we're the creator of that money, we're the creator of that energy, we're the creator of really the magnificence of all things. We look outside and we forget that it's our creation. We forget that we're the infinite creative potential. Again, why would, if we see who we are and we go and play in life, why would we take that seriously? We'd be like, wow, a tree, wow, a new business, wow, dinner, wow, a cup of tea. It would all be miraculous, and it all is miraculous. We're remember that it's an illusion. It's an illusion that we get to play in. And the more we lighten up, the more the richer the illusion gets. And it can be in the sense of money, but not necessarily in the sense of financial gain, but just in the sense of presence. Just in the sense of being where you are, knowing who you are, and feeling that gift of life, that gift of wow. I'm here, I'm having this experience. That's pretty mind-blowing. Think about what your body's doing just for you to be here now. Think about your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, all of it working so perfectly for you to sit on this call and lit your ears that can listen to me. It's a miracle. But look how much we want to add to the miracle to make it okay. Do we need to do that? Do we? I mean, it's fine to play and do it, but we don't need to do it for our well-being. Yeah, we don't. It's that I read something once, and it was, when you really see the truth of experience and the truth about money, you'll be excited to pay a bill. I'm not quite there yet, but you can see how that would be true. Because there isn't another. There isn't. If we're playing the game of money and we're playing the game of life, everything's awesome, everything's amazing, everything's a miracle. Even paying someone a bill, it's there isn't a separation. There's the truth of oneness. There's the truth of who we really are. And we can play it without the limits and restrictions that we believe are true, because the limits and restrictions that we believe are true are coming from us. They're coming from our minds. You know, it's if we just stop and trust this infinite creative potential, if we trust what lives through us, we're only going to go in the right direction. We're going to have amazing experiences. We're going to be up against it. I've spoken about this every time. Life sometimes gets gnarly. That's, that isn't going away just because you see what I'm talking about, but you get much more comfortable with the uncomfortable. You get much more. You go through it more gracefully. You understand life can be tough, but there's a grace that carries you through it, and the grace is knowing who you are. To me, there's nothing that's going to enrich you more. There's no money in the world. There's no cryptocurrency in the world that is going to enrich you more than waking up to who you are. From there, go play with all of it. Yeah, go have fun. Yeah, be free. I'm going to hand over to Gem, and I think we have a request from the lovely Neoshi as well.
That was really amazing. I mean, some of the points that you've made, I've written them down because there's some things I want to come back with. But do you want to bring up Neoshi first, if he's got maybe a question?
Absolutely.
Here? Yeah. All right. Welcome, Neoshi, and lovely to have you.
Hi, Neoshi.
Hey guys, how are you doing? It's so nice to hear from you.
It's lovely to have you on. Thank you for listening.
Really good, thank you.
Of course, I mean you just touched on so much realness, and you're like you hit it on like you hit the nail on the head. And I just wanted to explain a mantra that I have and that I use. Like, I mean, I pretty much say it, if not every day, at least every week. And I just, no matter what I have or don't have, ups, downs, or anything, I always just tell myself that I have everything that I need right now, and that I'm so excited to build more. And that creates a balance in my life. It works for me. I think having a mantra is so important. And so, if you realize that you have everything that you need right now, no matter what you have, then that it creates like a base for you to build more. And it just works for me. And you know the more you get smart on money, you realize money isn't real, and that it is just this, it's magical internet money, right? Even fiat money, guys, 98% is magical internet money. And it's just a tool to communicate with your community, humanity, to communicate with each other. So yeah, I just wanted to add that real quick, but I love the conversation. Keep going.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did go off on I think I spoke for ages, but thank you. That's amazing and perfect. Absolutely perfect. Fits so wonderfully with everything that we've spoken about. And like, if that mantra is your mantra and it works for you, great. And if other people have got theirs, brilliant. If they haven't got one, great. But it's so interesting. It's that we have everything we need. We are infinite creative fucking potential. It's like everything we need we have. It comes from us. We create it. And that's when I was talking actually about the receiving and the giving, and that being one thing. So whether you receive through a job, or you receive through inheritance, or you receive through a friend giving you something, or you receive through funding, or you receive, like, whatever way you receive, you have created that. Okay, that creation is yours. And that's something people don't always see. It's like they feel that the only abundance they create is what they work for. But your whole being is a creation. Your who you are is a creation. So whatever finds you was meant to find you. You created that. Like I've recently, and it's really trivial. I recently had my bedroom renovated, and I lie in my bedroom and I look. It's like completely different from what it was, and I lie there and I'm like, I get so excited that I created this bedroom. Now I didn't put a lick of paint on the wall, but I created it. It was like, wow. And it's just seeing what have you created in your life. Look around. There's things that you probably don't notice that you created that are amazing, but maybe you're not giving your creative potential the credit for it. But that's what it always is. It's always us. It's brilliant. Like the system is actually brilliant how it works. It's just that we haven't been shown it, we haven't seen it, we haven't explored it. But when we do, it's like, wow, so this is how I work, this is who I am. And it's magic. It's more than enough. So yeah, thank you, Neoshi. I loved what you said. It was amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Nyoshi, for coming up. And it's like, Molls, there was so much within that, and you'll be pleased to know that some of my things surrounding money have disappeared within that conversation.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. But some of them I'm going to have to go back to because they were so important. Like, well, and this happens throughout the calls. I think it happened last week when I suddenly got something. And actually, you have to eventually you apply the 3 principles to every single part of your life, and it's like wow. You don't realize that things weren't working for you until you do something slightly different, and then it's like, okay, I was really making life quite tricky. You said about it being a cosmic joke about money, and I thought that is so true. We're told that we have to be a certain way, 9 to 5, retire at 7 till might be older now. But all of these different things are there to put pressure on you, to have these societal, you must have hair like this, you must have these shoes, you must drive this car. Everyone's doing everything on credit. No one owns anything. Everyone's just doing it to either make themselves feel better or to look good for other people. And you mentioned about the being excited to pay a bill. But if we really see it for what it is, and how you explained at the beginning, that giving and receiving are exactly the same, they're on the same energy plane, which they are, and I kind of have only just got that tonight, so thank you. Then literally every single thing is exactly the same. So there is nothing to ever be afraid of. And sorry, I just lost my way. Then the cat just jumped on me, and I've lost my path. Oh God! But the opinion that you have about money really defines everything. And I've been in 2 different modes, never ever in the middle really, but I've either been a money magnet or a money repeller. And I'm sure some of you on this call have felt the same, thinking, how could I have been doing so well and then all of a sudden so badly when I'm the same person doing the same things? It's just all literally about the energy. So it's when you kind of get that and realize that understanding, it does make sense. I mean, poor people, they're not thinking about getting multiple payments a day, and rich people, they're not thinking about debt all the time, are they? It's very relative, but it's wow. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's all relative and it's all made up. That's the point. It's so the beauty of this understanding is that anybody, like wherever you are with money, whatever you think about money, seeing that it's you that's created your experience of money means that you can change your experience of money. And as your beliefs around money change, the money in your bank will change. But what you'll also see is that your well-being and happiness isn't dependent on it. So you can just go and play with it a lot more lightly than you would have previously, which is really what this is, why we've done this project, what this is all about is, for people to be happier, to have more fulfilling lives, to understand more of who they are so they feel better. I personally love talking about non-duality and principles and the illusion of life, but not that, for most people, they don't come on for that. They come on because how can I feel better? How can I have a better experience of being alive? And that's what people want. And that comes from challenging yourself. Everyone's looking outside of themselves for that change, but it has to come from you. That's the key. Like, start with you, start with your inner world, look within, and the change will come. Don't try and manipulate the world for your happiness, because you're never going to find it. Or if you do, it's going to be part of the illusion, and it's going to be incredibly temporary, and it's going to be very unstable because it can be taken away from you. What we're pointing to is something within you that can't be taken away. Something, when you know who you are, then that essence, that truth, that peace, that well-being is always there. We can forget it. We all know we have temporary amnesia sometimes around it, but ultimately it's not going anywhere. It just gets covered up, and then it gets revealed again, and then it gets covered up, and then it gets revealed again. But I've just got this wonderful point in this book that I want to read, and it says, "The real purpose of money is to express appreciation for the magnificence of yourself as the creator of everything you experience, and the magnificence of all your creations as you create and experience them." I thought that was pretty amazing.
It is amazing, and I'm never going to forget that cosmic joke. That's going to stick forever, because we're always doing it, and you see it in me. Sometimes I get lost. It's rare now, but when I get lost, it's like, nothing makes sense. And then pull myself out, and it is a cosmic joke. Wow.
Yeah.
We've got another. It really, really is. It really is. We have another request, and that's Johnny. We've also got some other questions, but if anyone in the audience has got any questions about money or how to feel about money or anything like that, just request, okay? But welcome, Johnny. Nice to have you.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Johnny. What would you like to say?
Hey, how have y'all been?
Hey,
Good.
how are you?
How are you?
Good, good. It's been quite some time since we've last chatted. Am I coming through well?
Yeah. Sorry, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to emphasize on the point that you're making that, it's absolutely a must that we look into ourselves and go back into ourselves to find the true happiness. And kind of just reiterating the point that you're making, because I mean, it's absolutely the truth. You can't go out looking outwards and expect to find that inner peace. It may be hard to initially wrap your head around it and whatnot, but the more that you kind of dwell on it and look inwards, the more that the more you see the nature of reality and whatnot, and essentially the illusion that the material world is. So I kind of just wanted to reiterate on that point and say thank you for kind of bringing that reminder to me today.
Oh, you're welcome, Johnny. Thank you for coming up and saying it. Really appreciate anyone that comes up and speaks. And yeah, it's wonderful to be reminded, isn't it? It's I forget sometimes, and then I'll watch something or read something, or I'll be teaching and I'll be like, oh wow, I'd lost that for a moment. And yeah, and that's the nature of things as well. It's like, once we see this, it's not like it's constant. We'll forget and we'll remember, and we'll forget and we'll remember. So never be hard on yourself if you're going through a time where thought is looking real and you are caught up, because there'll be a point where you remember who you are again, and it will change. And that's really important. This is never about there's a better place to be. There's just where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. The place is now, and to know that you don't need to outsource anything to get your own happiness is the most beautiful thing in the world, and that's what we want everyone to feel. I mean, I'd love to feel that all the time, every single day. Is that possible, Moles?
No.
Okay, fine. Unless I go and sit in a big field with some monks, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I'd say it's night and day for me. It's been gradual, so I've not sort of noticed it in a big shift. But if I look back on how I used to, really try and push to be happy, I don't do that anymore because I don't need to. And it's just, I go with the flow most of the time. Sometimes I get caught up, and that's okay because it's nowhere near like I used to, and everything is a work in progress. So yeah, anyone that hears anything that resonates with them, or if they think that one of their family members or friends could do with listening or hearing this, then all of our episodes are on Spotify and on our website. So we'd love it if you could share it, because this is what we want to do every week, and it's made such a difference to us, and we see the same faces here, so we're obviously doing something okay. So just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to see the regulars. And also, when this is finished, please share it, because the recording will be up for, I think that's up for about a month. But, again, you never know who needs to hear this, who could hear something that might just change their lives, or they might share it with someone else that will change their lives. And, that's really something that we want to kind of press upon people now, is to share our work with others. Because it is the ripple effect. We one person tells another person, tells two people, and before you know it, the consciousness of the world is changing. It may sound like huge, but it's so true. It starts with us. It starts with us. It starts with what we share, and then what other people hear, and there's other people doing what we're doing, and if you think about where the world is and how much change is needed, if we all do our little bit, if we all point people home, then this collective consciousness will rise and the world will be a better place. Because again, once you understand what we're teaching you guys here, and what some of you obviously already know, is that when we see it comes from us, we're not out there trying to take, we're not out there trying to grab, we're not manipulating the world, we're not creating problems, we're not creating wars, we're understanding who we are. And from that understanding, a more peaceful world is born. So again, it's like, yes, it's important for us. Yes, it's important for the individual, but it's also on a macro level incredibly important. So yeah, I'm getting my throat's a little bit sore, so I'm probably getting to the end of my talking. But I just want to read this because I thought this was lovely too. Because you have the power to create absolutely anything you want. Your natural state is one of infinite abundance. In your natural state, you don't lack anything. Nothing is missing. No desire ever goes unfulfilled. As an infinite being, you're also in a constant state of joyfulness and peace.
That's beautiful. And we've not looked at the time, but it's been about on the hour, so that's perfect. Yeah, everything is self-created, and we don't need to do that. So thank you so much, Molls, and thank you to everyone for being here. We really appreciate your support. Any topics or any questions that you'd like us to cover in the future, just message us. If you just Google the Unminding Project, you'll be able to see us everywhere, but don't use Google. And yeah, just wonderful. And let's all have a better relationship about money. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. As I said, please share this episode. That would be great. Thank you to our cult family that have joined us. We love you so much. And to everybody else, we love you too. And we'll be back next week. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can DM Gem or I. Again, we have over 20, I think, old episodes online. I think it's on the unmindingproject.com, on Spotify, on Apple. And if you're interested in working with me privately, just reach out. But thank you again. We love you all, and we will see you next week, hopefully.
Thank you. Lots of love, everyone.
Bye, everyone. And we will see you next week, hopefully.
Thank you. Lots of love, everyone.
Bye, everyone.